Jaime from Inky&Scrappy, sharing with you today my brewing up creativity class with Inky&Scrappy, or Jaime from Inky&Scrappy. I've die cut everything out already for class. I do this one locally at the local coffee shop, and as a bonus I film it in real time for my YouTube audience. So this one is using the Zesty lemon die cuts from Fawn, as well as the simple, I think they're simple strip borders. And because I cut two pieces into that one, I can get 2 cards out of it. For this class we're actually doing 3 cards, I think. That's what is planned. We'll see how much we get done in our 2.5 hour time frame. But for this one, I'm just going to focus on the lemon cards today, and we'll see how long it takes. So if you want to follow along with me, I will list the supplies below, but you're going to need 3 of the large lemons, 3 of the lemon sliced ones, and then I cut about 20 leaves out. So in 3 different colors of cardstock, so you get a little bit of variegation in there, so you don't need to do any ink blending, and you'll still get that color pop here and there. I did 6 of the flowers with the little stamens on the inside. I did not do the little circles for them. I'm going to either use a Nuvo Glitter Drop, or I have Nuvo Jelly Drops, or one of my favorite things to use for class is the diamond dots, the little diamonds, because they're abundant and they're easy to find, and multiple colors. At least for me locally, they're easy to find. So I can get the big jar for this, like for, what is it, like $3, $4 maybe, $3.50. It depends which ones you get. I know the glittery ones are a little bit more expensive, but. And then of course I just did simple sentiment banners from Avery, Elle, for my sentiments on this one. And then I'm using Henry's ABCs. I have a couple of different options for my sentiment on this one, because I never like to do anything the same more than once, right? It's how I roll. And then for my sentiments, you can totally just use the "You're the," and you can either cut it or mask it, or just selectively stamp to do the "You're the Zest" for the first one. And then for the second one, I just used the Squeeze the Day stamp set on that one. You could totally die cut it out, flip it the other way, make it a bigger sentiment like that one. I also included the Y for this one because I kind of like the Be Zesty. It's just you know, but I am gonna pull my examples out of the way and we will get started. So for my card bases here, I've already just prepped them. I'm gonna zoom this out, sorry. I've already prepped them with, it's a die cut adhesive, and so you can put it on the back before you die cut, but I did not do that. I'm just going to put it on my card base fronts, and that way I don't have to worry about making sure that I glue everything. It'll hold it down, or help to hold it down, especially for class when I don't have my large acrylic blocks to hold it down, well, for me and for everybody else. So I will start with this one. I'm just using some card bases from the Paper Studio or Hobby Lobby for this one, and then my own card base for the vertical card. So for this one, I did already pre-sort all of my die cut pieces. I will say that this one is a super die cut heavy card. I probably spent 3.5 days die cutting out pieces. So this is my card kit for class. It'll include the card bases. I do sell my extras on Etsy. They are first come, first serve, so if you get there and they're there, you are welcome to purchase one. And when they're gone, they're gone. I only make enough. I try to make enough for class and then a couple for friends that I send them to, but you know. So I'm going to start with my card bases, and then we'll get into putting the lemons together. I'm hoping this one doesn't take me 3 hours, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about for 3 hours. So the big thing is for these, there are the 3 middle strips are all going to be the same. So I'm going to need the two outside strips. So if you see the outside has the stitching, So 2 of them are going to be for one card and 2 of them are going to be for the other card. So just kind of picking which card I want for which one at this point helps a little bit. The strips, they're all going to line up about the same. I'm sure there's a little bit off on the, you know, the stitching, but you're really not going to notice it. So for my card base, I'm just going to go around the outside and then a little bit of glue over the top. Now keep in mind the glue is probably going to dry fairly quickly, so trying to work fast enough to get them to line up. I do the glue on top of my adhesive here just because this way I get a little bit of wiggle room if I don't get it on straight the first, you know, the first time I lay it down. It allows me just a teeny tiny little bit of wiggle room. So for this one, I'm just going to go back and forth. Start with my peach polka dot there, and my papers are Bella Carta's. I even pulled out my strips because I knew I was going to forget. Bella Carta's. I'm not going to remember which one each one. This one's Adventures Await is the black one, and that one is the Here, There, and Everywhere paper pad from them. I bought the individual sheets from my local scrapbook store. And then just altering, lining them up, making sure you have them in place before you plop them down. Using a coordinating cardstock base is going to help if you don't get them right in there. The purple one I thought was okay because it's going to mix with that little purple X on my strip there. I've picked out some yellows and some other, because I don't have enough to do 12 in the same color. So, except of course for my main base. And then making sure to use that one that's got that full stitch on the bottom side and or top, depending if you started on the top or the bottom. And then lining up that last one. So you get just that little bit of wiggle room. And because I have that full adhesive sheet, it's going to lay down pretty flat. I don't have to worry about putting an acrylic block on it to hold it down. You can tuck it underneath your mat if you work on a mat. That will help hold it down as well. That's probably what we'll do in class, is put it underneath I just have placemats. So I have my first base done, and we're going to move on to the second base. Putting that glue all the way around again, and then a little bit in the middle. Making sure to cap up my little glue bottle. It's probably one of our biggest issues in class is that glue bottle, because it always, at least here in Minnesota, it's still super dry. I don't know exactly when this one's gonna air. It's like March 23rd right now. I'm actually ahead of schedule. I know, it's shocking. Ahead of schedule because I have to be. We are actually headed to Chicago for the weekend, and my sister-in-law has faster internet than me. Like, a lot faster. Let's just say my internet connection has been fairly poor lately, and it's taken me like 24 hours to load a 15-minute video. And so it's beyond frustrating because it doesn't want to load when the computer sleeps, and I have my computer that it stays on for like 2 hours. It's annoying. So I did a whole bunch of videos before we left here and bringing my computer with so I can load them. They load at her place in like 15 minutes a piece. And being that this one's going to be a longer one, I was like, I need to get this one done before I go. So instead of packing and doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing, I'm making my Brewing Up Creativity cards instead. And there is that base. So pretty quick to do both of those bases. They're so cute. I mean, you could totally do it this way as well. I just thought it would be fun to flip it. I buy the long, so when we're talking A2 size plates, we'll get back to that. Let's start with the lemons. You can ink blend on these if you so choose. I'm not going to ink blend on the bottom pieces. I just don't think it's worth it. For class, we'll probably end up using scattered straw or fossilized amber. Butter bar would work. I think this is a Hero one, or Hero Hues Reactive Lemon Drop, depending upon the yellow cardstock that you use. I'm using more of a buttered tone yellow. It's actually close to my heart's Buttercup for the lighter shade. And then I have I think it's like Sunflower or something. That's a different brand. I think it's an International Paper brand. So you can totally do ink blending on all your lemons if you want. I just don't think it's going to be a lot. You know, let me try the fossilized amber and see if I can get a better ink blend on it. Like, it won't take me 5,000 hours to get it done. So I might do a little bit just so I have a little bit of color variation just along the edges on all of them. And keep going. You could use a blending foam for that. The other part that you could color ink blend is your circle for your pieces. And the other option, I'm not going to do it because it's just going to be tedious. If these stuck together, okay, like these ones are going to be my actual lemon slice pieces. So if they stay together like this, you could totally go in and do a little bit of ink blending on the center, and then it'll give you a little, or on the outside, and it'll give you a little bit of a color variation. Mine didn't stay together, so I'm just gonna let them be. I just did my 3 large lemons, and I'm gonna let it be with that. It's totally up to you. I did it on the one and I didn't do it on the other for my example cards, and I liked them both. Let me find my... I'm just going to clean off the yellow ink here so I don't get that on everything. Okay, so back to my A2 plates. For these, you're going to want a pick stick is going to help, and a reverse tweezers, just because we have to fill all of those holes. And I do not weed my dies for my class. I make them weed their own. So whatever comes out, comes out. But I don't sit there and weed them all because that's a lot of die cuts to weed. But I do give them the tools to weed easily. So there are those. There are those. I'm going to start gluing things together, and we'll talk A2 styled plates. If you watched the last one for my Create With Us, I used I think it's the Puffy Cloud Border die from Lawn Fawn, and I bought it in Horizon, and it's, you know, and I understand which one do I get, because I always hem and haw. I find that if I get the longer one, or the one that's wide, I can always make it taller for like a slim line, those types of things. For this one, I figured I could cut them this way, and I can always glue them onto paper, like copy style paper or thickness of paper, and then run them through the die cut machine with a stitched rectangle frame for my vertical. I mean, it doesn't always work that way, but I just figure it saves me a teeny tiny little bit of, you know, when I'm trying to make my decision, that's usually what my decision is. Now, when I bought my scene ones, I think I did those, like my Garden Meadow, I did the vertical one. I don't know. Sometimes I wish I would have gotten the other one, because it's easier to turn that one into a vertical than it is a horizontal at that point. So for these ones, I just glued those on there. You could definitely glue some glitter underneath those. I will probably add a little bit of glitter later on. So just going around, there is a crease line on your big circle here that is going to kind of show you, oh, that's the wrong one to be gluing there. I didn't weed this one either. Okay. I had decided to do, it's like an ivory, colonial white if you are close to my heart, paper crafter. I'm using, it's just an off-white shade. I didn't want it to be stark white, but I wanted it to have a little bit of a yellow tint to it. So using that colonial style white or an ivory is going to give you that look. Because the inside of the lemon, when you're looking at it, that white stuff that doesn't taste the greatest, it's kind of bitter, is more on the white side. And for oranges and limes. So if you don't want to do lemons, you could definitely do limes or oranges. Oranges are going to be a little bit different for your big fruit. You just use the circle for them. And, you know, I suppose you could go with a hole punch to get your holes in there. I tried to do one with this die, like take the circle and then punch it through. It didn't really work. But I suppose if you had like a die that has little dots in it, you could definitely do that sort of thing. So this one is the one that's going to be a little bit more time consuming to paper piece all of those little lemon wedges in. And so that's why I have two, because I cut out a lighter shade. I don't know, can you see that it's lighter? Let me hold it up. So when you're looking, you have this yellow, and then the other one is a darker shade. So I don't know if you can tell it on camera as well as you can tell it in person. But so the darker one is my back piece, and then the lighter one is for my inside pieces. You could totally just leave it like this without doing the little pop-in pieces. It'd probably be a lot less time consuming, but you know, we like to. I will say I like doing the die cut pieces inlays. I think it's relaxing sometimes. Cutting out, I don't know how Jennifer McGuire does like all of the die cuts that she does, because that drives me nuts, like constantly just going, and I think it's just because I stand when I do it. I don't know, I couldn't sit there and do all of the die cut pieces all the time, which is altering my class thought for my May one, because I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can do. I was thinking about doing the Build a Succulent set. I might still do one from the Build a Succulent set, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing a 3-card Build a Succulent class. Yep, nope. Maybe one or two, maybe one card with, or 2 cards with just like 2 little succulents and not 3 days of die cutting. So one's done. See, that wasn't so bad. I just pop a little bit of glue into each one. I wouldn't suggest doing the glue on the back of these, or like, not the glue, but the paper, like the double-sided adhesive on the back of those, because I don't know about you, but I can never get it off that well on those itty-bitty little pieces. I think that would not go well. Let's see. Hopefully here in Minnesota it's getting warmer. It currently is not. We've had a snowstorm, I think, every week. I'm over the snow, most definitely. You know, it's March, so usually it's starting to get warm. I have a feeling we're going to have really bad floods. So this is what, March 23rd? So I'm going to guess that we're going to have really bad floods this spring when all the snow melts, because it's still super cold. I think today it's like 31, so it's hovering. But we had a little bit of snow yesterday with freezing rain. on top of it. So I'd say it's wet, but it's not, I don't know. It's a weird year. Super amounts of snow. I think currently we are at our 4th snowiest winter on record. This is the winter of my childhood. We always, you know how you always think you had so much snow when you were younger? At least here, I think we had a lot more than we've had in past years. But this year's definitely been one that I can say, yep, this is the amount of snow that we had when I was younger. I think we think it's way more snow when we're younger just because we're smaller, so the snow piles look that much bigger. But this year the snow piles definitely rivaled some of those that my grandpa pushed together on their farm with tobacco. They used to have a huge snow pile in the yard, like on Grandma's grass in the front yard by the swing set. And we would always go sledding down it. It was just a huge snow pile. And when we grew up on the farm, like our farm, we have had a pasture that led down to the river. And there was we called it Killer Hill. It was really like a drop off. It was like a gravel. They probably took gravel from it at some point, or it was a washout. And so it was like a straight down drop and then a little hill, like straight down, and then you had a flat piece, and then there ended up being another little tiny steep hill that fed down into the bog, or I think it was a bog. I'm not sure. We always called it the bog. It was probably just a slough or a wider area of the river that had some cattails in it and stuff. And there are those. So now we'll just go on to my little flower pieces. And these ones are going to be fairly simple too, just putting a drop in the middle. Not going overzealous because I don't want to glue it to my work surface. And I just want to put those in the center. I'm not worried about where the little dots line up. But so we would go down the hill and, you know, scream bloody murder. I remember the one time we were riding together in the sled and it ended up like we were going so fast it like turned us because there was a stump too. So you had to try to avoid the stump. But the best spot was on the stump. So if you hit the stump right, you would like sail through the air and then land, you know, because you wanted to get out as far into the river as you could. Now in the spring, like this time of year, you had to be careful because sometimes that river was not, that ice was not very frozen. I'm not going to say we ended up with a wet boot or two here and there. Mom, you didn't hear that. Okay. Alright, so we have all of our pieces put together. So for the first card, I cut one of mine in half for this one. So I'm going to take my scissors and just cut in between two of those pieces. You could totally do a quarter one if you want to do a quarter of a wedge, you know, however you want to do that one. To each their own. And so I started with kind of like laying it out, picking some of my leaves. I just did a plethora of leaves. So I think there's 20 in each of my kits. I wasn't too concerned. Now I think the first one I tried tucking in tucking this one into there, and it's a lot of work to tuck that into there. You are more than welcome to do it. You could just put it on the top. Let's see. I can probably manage it on the top. Okay. So, but then it hangs off the card anyways and I end up cutting it off. So it's however you want to do it. So you can I would place your lemons first and then come back in and fill. I'm not going to glue anything down yet. I'm going to kind of lay these out, kind of figure out my lemon placement here, knowing that I want to keep that middle area cleared for my zest. And then for my top one here, and this one's got bigger, so bigger, I get bigger or longer, more dots on that one, so you could, I'm going to do them the opposite way. I just like the look of that one. And then knowing that my little flowers are going to fill in here, and one up there. And then kind of just popping in the leaves to go. Varying my colors and my shapes here. I don't want to go with all big ones or all small ones. I don't want to go all with the same color. I kind of want to variegate them a little bit. We could definitely do another one of those on top. Put the little stem on there. That probably would work better with my pokey tool, huh? And then kind of building. So I'm kind of variegating colors, making sure that I don't have a lot of the same ones right next to each other. I want some of my leaves to go off the edge, just so it looks like it's continuing onward. And then just kind of poking in. I'm missing some of those medium toned greens in there. And what do I have color wise? I want to save enough leaves for my other one, so I don't want to go too many. If I do this one over here and that one over there. And then I'll just glue it down. So for the most part, I'm going to start with probably my most simple layout. And I don't want to put glue all the way around the outside. And that's so I can tuck those leaves in a little bit. I want to give them a little bit of wiggle room. And so this one's going to sit on top. I did add a little bit. I was going to say, I don't think I just used one little piece of on both cards for a little bit of dimension, but I didn't do a whole lot of added dimension because all of those layers of cardstock really do add quite a bit of dimension. And I think I want to tuck this leaf in there already before I do the other one on top. Just because it's going to be mostly hidden underneath that other lemon. So let me do just barely going to hang on there, but it'll work. Gives me a little bit of wiggle room here to place that lemon. Kind of want to tuck it so it's just like so. And then I'm just going to come in here and add in some leaves. Keeping in mind again that my zest is going to go in the middle there, and so I don't want to go overboard, but I want to have enough greenery sticking out here that, you know, kind of gives it the look I was going for, or similar to that first one. I'm not great at doing floral bouquets, and so this is where I really feel it. Because I do not feel comfortable doing all of the setting in of leaves. Are you better at doing floral arrangements? I have no clue. My kids would say I do a good job, but that's because, you know. We hit the half-hour mark. I don't know when it shut off. I'm sorry. So to save yourself a little bit on the leaf cutting, or giving yourself a couple more leaves than maybe you have cut out, cutting this one off because it's a longer one and tucking it underneath, it looks like it's all there, but it's not really. Do I want to do 1, 2? I need to do a dark one up there. I'm going to leave that for right now. I might come back and add some more to it. I don't know. And then for this one, I want this one to frame it more and not so much going off. Maybe hanging off just a teeny tiny bit. I want to put the little one, I think, on the top here. I think we're going to go with this one. I'm trying to be mindful of my colors of leaves that I have left for my other card. Otherwise, I'm not going to have very much variety when it comes to the other card. So I guess a smart person would probably take the leaves that you're given and divide them out beforehand. Yeah, you know. I do have another one on my original that has another leaf on there, but I think I like this, and we'll add those flowers and see where we're at with that one. I'm just going to cut off everything that is overhanging here, turning it over and just cutting along those lines. And then for my little flowers, just popping them here and there throughout. Whoops, that one got a little overzealous on the glue. Well, it's sticking there. We'll call it good. And do one over here. My glue's extra runny today. Tuck that one underneath the corner because it's not a perfect one. So there's my lemon spread, I guess you could say. And now for my sentiment. So I have the Zest. And I already have my You're the already pre-stamped out for my class, but I'm using my mat here, or my pre-done mat. I just pop these in and it goes really fast to stamp them this way, using a pick tool to just pull it out. I don't have to worry about sticking it because it's already sticky, and it works really good. And then this sheet is just going to pop out. It's on that piece of, I guess it's a cheap Cricut, like a Cricut backed paper pack. I don't know, with the plastic sheet that you run through the Cricut machine. Amazon, super cheap. I think 2 to a pack, and I cut them apart, and they work really well for that type of thing where you're replacing die cuts and stamping repeatedly. I did a variety. Now my longer one for the next card, I don't have the actual one in here. I just used a longer one and butted it up against the one side, centered my stamp on top of it, and called it good. And it worked very well for stamping those out. I actually did both of those sentiments at the same time, so it could save me a little bit of time. So I have the word Zest here. I also cut out the Y because my original one, when I was doing it, I was like, I like the sentiment be zesty. And so I did save myself a leaf if I wanted to do the Be Zesty. And I grabbed Henry's ABCs here. I think it's too big. And so I did go and I found the I Hope You Feel Better. There's a B and an E on that one. For Better Days Ahead. I'm thinking I can stamp it on a smaller leaf and make that one work a little bit better. I think we could do the B and then Be Zesty. Let's try it. I don't know if I'm going to go that route or not, but I like having options. I think if we're going to do it, I think the big one is almost too big, but it might be better. I want like an in-between size one there. Let's see. I have, this one's kind of the in-between. That one would work. Let's grab some black ink here. And instead of cutting it apart, I'm just going to go in and carefully ink just the B and the E. It's easy when it's on the end of a stamp and not in the middle to just do it kind of selectively inking. Using an ink cube, like the littler cubes, might work better too. So this way I can do the B with the Zesty. So for my Zesty, I cut it in that ivory toned paper, and this way I can come in and add a little bit of shading with my blending brush. So I usually do most of my blending on my letters before I cut them out. Like I will ink blend onto the whole strip of paper and then cut them out to get that gradient blend without, you know, having to hold everything down. And so we're gonna come in here and just do try to hold them down a little bit, and so we get a fairly good, I want to go a little bit darker on the bottom and come up a little bit more with my yellow. Sticky. The other thing you could use is Post-it note tape would work. Washi would work well for this as well, instead of that whole Post-it note. For lining them up, you can just glue them and call it good. You can use washi again to tape them together and then lay them down. I'm just gonna, for class, I'm just gonna lay them and glue, pick them up and glue them one by one. So I'm gonna lay out my letters here. We'll see if I want to do the Be Zesty or the You're the Zest. So for the You're the Zest, I'm just gonna come in with that one. Center my Zest, so I'd move those all over. If I'm gonna go with the Zesty and the Be Zesty, I think we'll do Be Zesty on this one, just to be different. So if we do Be Zesty, I will overlay the Z onto that leaf. Just want to make sure I like the placement of my letters here before I start gluing them down. I'm going to start with that Y. And I think I have my top lemon down a little bit further than, it looks about the same. Maybe it's angled more. I don't want to line it straight up on the bottom. I want it to overlap both of them just because it's not going to fit in one entirely. And so visually I like the look better when it's kind of hovering over both of them more than following that straight line down there. And you could totally do these at a cattywampus layout style. Why is it when you pick letters up after you've laid them where you want them, you end up closer together than you were when you first started? I don't get it. It works, I just don't get it. And I don't want to push down that Z top just yet because I want to tuck that leaf underneath there. Ooh, that'd be kind of cute to pop that up, wouldn't it? Okay, we'll pop it up. I'm just going to cut a little tiny piece of foam tape here. Don't mind me, I like to, you know, switch things up a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue underneath there. I'm going to lift up that Z just a little bit. I want to tuck it so my leaf tip is all the way under there so you don't see that part. And then I can press the Z down on top of it. Zesty. Isn't that cute? You know, for your not very mild friends. I don't like the color on that one yet, and that one's too orange. I had to buy some different colors for those. I'm going to come in with some Nuvo Glitter Drops in Yellow Bird. I think my other one is called Limoncello maybe, which would probably work well too. And I'm going to just do a tiny dot on my center. You could definitely just use a sickle, like a glitter drop would work just as well too. And then to add a little extra zest or a little extra sparkle, because you know, sometimes we like to be extra, I'm gonna add a little drop of glitter to each one of those little dots, which doesn't make much sense because I cut the cardstock. Maybe I'll just do the top ones and just the bottom ones on this one. So I frame in my glitter, and I suppose you could just selectively do a couple. Maybe on the next one, I didn't do glitter on the next one. This one just screamed like it needed a little extra glitter. And then because, you know, you have juicy drops on your lemon slices, I'm just going to do 3 little ones on there, 3 different sizes, and that will finish up that first Be Zesty card. We'll find something cute to put on the inside for class, maybe. It could be a birthday, it could be, I don't know if I have zesty lemon ones. I have one that's like lemon zesty. I didn't finish putting my circles in my kits yet. I'm just using a piece of vellum. It's a fairly lightweight vellum. It just pops it up from that. It mutes the background a little bit so it gives it a place to land. And so for this one, I'm actually going to build, I'm not going to put this one down yet. I'm going to lay it here. This is where I want it on my card base. I'm going to build my lemons up from there. It's kind of my, I guess, where you're going to go from there. And this one, again, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm only using 1/2 for the front of this one. On my other card, I tucked it into the other one. You could totally put this on your other card if you wanted to add another lemon wedge to your other card. You could quarter it and add it that way. It's all up to you. So for this one, I am going to come in and add, I don't want to add glitter, not yet. I'm going to add my, one of the last 2 twigs that comes with this die set. So this card, or these ones were actually inspired by Miss Jordy from Jordy's Cards, because it's her Shop Your Crafty Stash challenge is kind of what she's been doing this year, and I bought these with the intent to use them, and I had yet to use them. I feel like now maybe I've gotten my bang for my buck, being that we're doing this one for card class. It's kind of how it rolls. I need a different coloring here. I suppose I could have put that one up and under that, huh? So it looks like that maybe. Alright, I'm going to end up tucking that one somewhere else. Let's go here and there. I'm just kind of laying it, eyeballing it, so that that brown line on the twig there is going to follow my leaf up. You could totally put the leaf on top of it if you want that look. I just thought it'd be kind of cute to go that route with it. And then we're going to add, my circle looks like it is going to be here. I'm going to cover up the cute little dots. Aww. Okay, I think I'm happy with my 2 lemons. I'm going to add those to my card base, or I shouldn't say card base. I'm going to add them to my circle. Kind of center them in the middle, but not so much centered like in the center, like centered this way, not this way. More down on that one. And then I want to tuck a bunch of leaves in underneath there, because and these I want kind of to go flow off to the side, not be all in the same place, you know. Kind of building a leaf base or a leaf bed, I guess. I'll tuck this one on top of that one since I overused my glue. Remember, that's not actually like pressed down. You know, it's wiggling around on me, and I wasn't expecting it to wiggle around on me because I forgot that I hadn't actually put it down yet. Yeah. I can come out here because this one is going to sit here, and so I kind of want to make a little bed for it. I'm going to do some on top, some not even, you know. This one I want to tuck it a little bit, but I'm going to angle it that way. We'll bring this one down. I'm going to glue a couple right on here because I'm going to pop up this lemon. It's going to help pop up those leaves as well, and so it'll give it a little bit more dimension, I feel. I want to pop in, oh well, I've got glue back there yet, so let's pop that one on there. And I think I'm happy with that look. I need another. You can totally skip the popping it up. I just like the little bit of extra dimension it gives. And of course, I want to make it angled a little bit this way, that way. I don't know. Let's go this way with it. So it's mostly hanging off. It kind of hides the whole bottom portion of that one. But for this one, for gluing on vellum, you don't want to actually see your glue. So if you turn it over now, and you can kind of follow where your lemons sit. It's going to be open on the top. It's not actually going to be glued down. And then we can put this one center on this way and then towards the top on that way. Kind of like your lemons where they're centered this way, but they're more, I guess it's the opposite because you have more room up there, and this one you have more room down there. Yeah, I'll be quiet now. So now I just need to finish adding in my little flowers, and these are just gonna help fill in where I think I don't really like, you know, I think there's too much green. I'm gonna plop a flower over there. It'll break it up a little bit. And then just to bring the lemons up a little bit more. I think I have, well, I have leaves left, so I could totally throw a little leaf up there. I think we'll do that. I usually supply more than they need just because, you know, that way if there's something that you want to do that looks good to you, you can do it. You could also throw that other top in there if you want to even out your browns, or throw a brown on the other side, you know. And this one I'm going to definitely use that reverse tweezers because my fingers aren't going to work like that. I like that. It evens, it kind of makes it all just even out. And I do have an extra leaf here I could throw in there if I wanted to, but I'm good with not throwing that one in there. And then for this one, I have the Squeeze the Day sentiment, which is a fairly, you know, straightforward sentiment. You could definitely do the Zest on this one as well. You could definitely do the You're the Zest on this one. It would totally work. And for this one, I want to pop this one up as well. So I set my, we'll just use this partial one. That's fine. That'll be enough. Oops. So, are you ready for spring? Do you have your garden in yet? I'm probably the last one ever to get my garden in every year. Because we tend to be in the field planting, I guess, the big garden, the field corn and the soybeans and all of that stuff that I just never find time to do mine until like, and it's cold here sometimes too, so Labor Day, not Labor Day, Memorial Day. It's never done by Labor Day because I never get it in early enough. I am starting my plants when I get back from vacation. I don't know if it's vacation. When I get back from a trip. I want to be on top of that this year. So once I have that on there, I am set with that one. And I have some extra pieces here, so I'm going to go and just add them onto the inside. It brings the inside or the outside into the inside of the card. And what else are you going to do with it? I mean, you know, I spent the time to die cut them all out, put them all together. Let's go this side. Not too bad. All I had left was a leaf and a half of a lemon. So, squeeze the day. You could do a graduation card, a birthday card, a Mother's Day card in there if you really wanted to. Oh wait, we need some glitter yet. We have a couple of seconds left, so let me go and add. And this one, I'm just going to do some glitter on the centers. And I am content with that one. 3 little drops of glitter, and we're going to call it good. You could definitely do some clear sparkle pen, I guess it's like a glitter pen, over the Seize the Day if you so chose to. I did it on the other one. it's subtle. I don't know. I like it without, so I think I'll go with that one. So there is my second one. So the first and the remake, you know, not too far off. I did add a darker shade of leaf when I was cutting them, just because I wanted more variety. But you could definitely stick with 3 shades of leaf and you would be more than fine. So there's the first set. And then for the second set here, You're the Zest card. So yes, it's supposed to look like this one, but of course I added that Be Zesty because that's really what I wanted to do the first time around. So there are my two cards for the Brewing Up Creativity in Real Time with Jaime from Inky&Scrappy. If you are local, make sure to check out Firehouse Coffee in Painesville, Minnesota, and join me for a class. I will only have one more left before summer. Once May hits, I have one in May, and then I am off for this. Well, I'm off for the summer. I'll be at the farm all summer. It just gets to be too hectic, so we will pick it up again late next September. So I don't know if I will continue to do the Brewing Up Creativity online or not over the summer months. I might do one in real time over the summer months just for fun. So there are both of them. I hope we didn't miss out too much when it cut out because I have no clue when it stopped filming. I'm sorry. Anyways, I hope you have an amazing rest of the day and please keep getting inky. Bye!